What up? It's 7:20. What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Quadria Marie. I hope everybody had a lovely weekend and a lovely Monday, I should say. What's up? What's up? I just want to make sure. Okay, it is 7:20. I was getting ahead of myself a little bit. What's up? I'm just making sure I'm all set up here. So I'm getting myself together. Okay, let me make sure I got Brad here. Brad is here. I'm adding him right now to the discussion. Let me make sure he's on, make sure he's good. What's up? What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just making sure I got everything set up and organized and whatnot. So you can hear or see me well, Brad?
Yes.
Or should I say b-Rad? I want to make sure I'm going by the right name. What's up? Thank you guys for joining tonight. Like I said, I hope everybody had a lovely weekend, a lovely Monday. I know Mondays is mad rough, for some people. But I love Mondays though. See, when I get up, I'm all, you know, bubbly and happy while everybody else is at work just saying they want to go back to sleep. I'm like, everybody needs to just, wake up, be happy, to be here. So what's up with you, Mr. Butler? What's going on? How was your weekend? How was your Monday?
My Monday was fine. I mean, I
Yeah.
I can't complain. Every single day that I'm able to get up and go out and do
Yes.
what I do, that's a
Yes.
blessing for me. So I actually got
I
to
see
spend
you
some time.
representing too.
Oh, thank
Huh?
you. Oh, I
What's
always
up?
got my brand is always on. I'm always brand
Yeah,
ready.
see. Yeah, I gotta pay attention to that. You always gotta represent for your brand. No, if nobody else will, you have to do it yourself.
Absolutely. I have some people who come up to me and say, "Man, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your name is,
Mhm.
but I know I've seen that logo somewhere before." And then that just
Wow.
opens the conversation.
Well, that's crazy that people don't even know your face, but that they know your clothes and your brand.
Right.
That means you actually out there doing something without you even having to be present. That's crazy. So what's up? We have some people coming on. Thank you guys again for joining us, Scholar Talk. I'm here with Mr. Brad b-Rad Butler. So he's here. So just start, introduce yourself just briefly, about who you are, your company, your LLC.
Oh, absolutely. My name is Brad B-Rad Butler II, and I am a certified motivational speaker. I own my own companies called Brad Butler II and Associates. I do presentations at, man, high schools, universities, elementary schools, middle schools,
Mhm.
anywhere you need me to go, I will go. I've done some corporate work with Verizon, Apex Fun Run, just a number of different places like that, and I'm just very, very thankful to be able to able to
Mhm.
walk in purpose.
How did you discover your purpose though? Because now that you brought it up, because that's something that I hear a lot of people say. They have all these goals in mind, but then they can't figure out what their purpose is. So then they're not actually acting on anything. They're just waiting for somebody to tell them what their
Right.
purpose is. How does one figure out their purpose?
Well, for me, it took a little while. Like I didn't realize that this was what
Mm,
I shouldn't say that. The signs were always there. Like
right.
we can never say that the signs aren't there. The signs are always there. The issue
Mm,
was actually acting on it and actually taking the steps to
mm,
do what it was that I wanted to do with my life. So as far as
mm,
that goes, it wasn't. I would say it was only a couple years ago that I actually made a firm, steadfast decision that okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to devote the rest of my life to. So I want to say I was
mm,
around 25, 25. I'm 30. I turned 30 this year. So I want to say I was about 30, excuse me, 25 when I was
mm,
like, okay, that's it. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna put everything into it. So
mm,
from there, I just went forward with it, and I just said, we're gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. We're gonna see what happens.
mm. And that's, that's a great age, 25, because you're just discovering certain things about yourself anyway. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
You're not a boy, but you're still growing, to a man. So I think that age is very critical, because a lot of 25-year-olds, I was once 25. I'm still saying I'm 25. But when you get to that age, that's when you're just really in that mess. You might have graduated college by then, you might be looking for work, whatever, and you don't know what you want to do in life. So you're
right.
just there. So that's is a really tough, time frame in most, young people's lives and things. So you mentioned your motivational speaking. Now, what type of topics do you normally touch on when you're out doing the speaking engagements?
The main three topics that I'm normally touching on is the first
Mm,
one is overcoming adversity, because I believe that's something that affects every last one of us in some way, shape, or form. It
yes.
has absolutely nothing to do with race, color, creed. It does not matter. Some people say,
Hmm.
"Oh, if you're born in privilege, if you have money, if you have this or that, how
Right.
could adversity really bother you?" An example I
Mm,
like to use is that you could have all the money in the world, but if you fall in love with a certain woman and that woman does not love
mm.
you, that is a form of adversity that you now have to deal with.
Wow.
So that's just an example of it, but there's many, many different examples out there. Like some people dream of being an athlete and you're not athletic. Sorry. That's just not your
Right.
gift. That's just not your
I know.
gift.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to do something else. So
Gotta
the
find something
first
else.
one is overcoming adversity. The second one is
Mm,
giving 100% of your effort to whatever it is that you want to do.
mm,
So the thing I get with a lot of people is that they say, "Oh, I really want to do this. I really want to do that," and you have never in your entire life given 100% of your effort to anything
mm.
that you have ever done. Like
Right.
some people think, "Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I gave." No, you were just talented. You were
Right.
just skilled in that area, but you've never actually gone to the point of
Mm,
exhaustion where you have absolutely nothing
right.
left.
Yes.
So that is
Mm,
a huge difference. So I try to break that down for people, especially the younger generation, so they understand, because they love
right.
instant gratification. So
Yeah.
the
That's
last
adults
one,
too now. That's adults too. I'm saying they're just as bad. As the
yeah,
young one.
yeah, those two. And the
Yeah.
last one is awareness. And awareness is important because a lot of people, they want to achieve certain things in their life and they don't even realize how they can be successful in that
Mm,
category. So, for
mm,
example, if you're a student and you're walking into a college class, your first college class, the first thing they normally
mm,
give you is the syllabus. So, if you
right.
haven't taken the time to actually look at the syllabus and see how you can pass the class, how are you supposed to do it?
Mm, mm,
You're just going in blind. So what I tell people is that awareness, if you have an awareness of what you're supposed to be doing and how you can be successful, that's that's
mm.
that's about 50% of the battle right there. So that was my
Wow.
approach. That was my approach to school. I said, all right, how do I pass?
Mm.
How can I get up out of here with a strong C? C's get
Yes,
degrees.
to get
Let me
out.
get out
Yes.
of here. Because like I'm not
That's
gonna
yeah. It's
yeah, I'm not
tough.
gonna I'm not
College is
gonna
tough. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like I'm not gonna lie and say I was that kid where,
Mm.
I got straight A's. Absolutely not. That was not me.
You like, let me just make sure I get out, get my money's worth.
Let me just get all that I can get out of it.
Yeah. And you have to have it because you're spending, all your time, your money into this. You have to put, like you said, 100% effort in. Why would you go to school and not put 100% effort in it? And
Right.
that carries on in your life, period, not just in college, but just in life, in general. And I
Right.
think people need to realize, like you said, people said, like you said earlier, that they have a natural talent and they think that means that they put everything into it, but it doesn't. You actually have to still put work into it. That's like LeBron James, for example. He's talented, but he still puts he still puts work in,
Oh
even
yeah,
though we already know that he's great at it. He still works, every day. He still does what he needs to do to stay at that level. And I
absolutely.
don't think people realize that to get to that level, you still got to put effort into it. So just can you tell us a little bit about your background? I studied, you a little bit. So I looked up, some of, what you were saying about growing up, in the inner city and the suburbs and a little bit like what you were just talking about, being privileged. So how did
Right.
that all tie into what you're doing now?
So as my situation started with me is I'm originally from Jersey City. All my family's from Jersey
Mhm.
City. And
Okay.
out there, we dealt with ups and downs. Like my father was a high-ranking drug dealer. So that was a difficult situation that we had to deal with because of the fact that, constantly moving around, going back and forth, doing different things, hiding from the cops, that type of stuff. And I actually asked my father to stop selling drugs when he got incarcerated. When he got out, I asked him to stop selling drugs, and he made a man decision and he chose to stop. So he went and got a regular 9 to 5, and then because of that, there were strains on the family financially, because we were actually used to having a large amount of money. But now that we no longer had that surplus of money because of him being in the drug game and he was just getting his 9 to 5 money, it was a lot different. So that led to some stress within the family. My mother and my father ended up becoming addicted to drugs. So we were like the black sheep of the family. Thankfully, through I would say the grace of God, my mother and my father were both able to get clean. And till this day, they're still clean.
Yes.
My mother, she got clean through going to AA meetings, and therapy, that type of thing. I know about the AA meetings because I was at the AA meetings with my mother. So I would listen to her stand up and say, my name is such and such, and this is my addiction. I listened to tell her story and how she got, sucked into it, how she got trapped, and how she thought she would never be able to break away from it, that type of thing. Listening to her cry, that type of thing. With my father, he was able to break his addiction just by locking himself in the house. So he didn't see, the only reason he went to actually see a therapist was to actually learn how to stop selling drugs. That was it. He didn't have an issue with not doing the drug. I know it's weird. He didn't have an issue with not doing the drug. He had an issue with not selling the drug. So that was his deal. And, he locked himself in the house and he went through withdrawal, and the cold sweats and the throwing up and helping my mom put him in the bathtub, that type of thing. But we got through it. We got through it. And then once we got past that portion of things, my mother and father felt the best opportunity for me would be to go with my father to it was South Jersey, which is East Windsor, New Jersey. That's where we ended up going to with my grandparents. So we lived there, and it was a culture shock because I'm going from
different.
I'm going from the city of Jersey City to now the suburbs of East Windsor. It's completely different. I know my father, he struggled with it a lot. Like, he was just so used to the sounds of Jersey City that on the weekends he would just drive back to Jersey City just to be in the area. That, like, it was that bad for him.
That's what he was familiar with. So
exactly, that's all he knew. And it was bad for me for a little while as well. It just took a whole lot less time for me to get used to it. But from there, I enrolled in school. I would say within the first, 2 weeks, they placed me in special ed class. I'd never been in special ed classes before when I was in Jersey City, but when I went down there, the curriculum was different. Maybe the curriculum was slower in Jersey City, whatever the case may be. I got thrown in special ed classes, and it was terrible because I remember the first IEP meeting, I guess you would call it, with the counselor and my mother, and sitting there and begging my mom not to allow them to put me in those classes, and just, looking at I remember having my head down and looking at the table, and there was a puddle of tears on the table because I was like, I couldn't stop crying. Like, I was like, I'd never heard I didn't have all the information on special ed classes, but I heard enough where I was like, I don't want to be there. And,
that's scary.
So long story short, I was stuck in those classes, and all the way throughout my educational career, when, as far as, elementary, middle school, high school, like I was stuck in those classes. I had the opportunity to leave those classes when I was around a junior in high school, but by that time I realized that I wasn't getting college credits, and if I were to go in mainstream classes, I probably would start failing. So I opted not to leave those classes. My senior year in high school, my father had a brain aneurysm, so he was placed in the medical induced coma for 3 months. So when that happened, that threw me into the role of pretty much the man in the house. So it went from, having my little part-time job at ShopRite, to take my, my girlfriend out, on Friday nights to the movies and stuff like that, to now I have to buy groceries for my grandparents, and this is a whole lot different for me. So
that's definitely different. Wow.
Yeah.
And you're still in high school.
Yeah, I was still in high school, and I didn't tell anybody. Like, my friends didn't know. The people in the school didn't know. I remember them just pulling me out of class one day when I was taking the test, and the principal said, Brad, we just heard that your father's in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you tell us? I said, well, my family's in six-figure debt, and unless you guys are going to give me some money, I don't see how you can help.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, we could have offered you some, you know, some extra time on your test. I'm like, I'm actually
Right.
taking the test right now, and I don't think extra time is going to help me with it. If I'm going to fail, I'd like to fail in peace. So, you know, that was
Yeah.
just my thought process on it. It just was what it was. I actually
Mm-hmm.
had some teachers tell me that trying to go to college would not be the best option for me because I was in special ed
Mm-hmm.
classes. So they blatantly would
That's
just tell you,
crazy.
yeah, they blatantly would just
Mm-mm.
tell you, like, no, maybe a trade school, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with trade school,
No,
but
it's not.
I wanted to try, I wanted to at least try, and I felt like they were trying to take that option away. So, you know, I'm a rebel, so I'm like, nah, I'm going anyway. And I asked my mother about it, and she was like, no, I think you can do it if you really want to. So I said, okay, I'm going to try to do it. So my father had a
Mhm.
full recovery, thank God.
Yes,
So
thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
he was able to, have a full recovery, and
Mm.
he was able to walk, talk, read, write. If you saw my father right now, you would never know that anything ever happened to him. But he went
Mm.
through a very traumatic experience. Um, from there, I decided I wasn't going to try to go to a school that was far from home because I needed to be around for my father and my grandparents. So I ended up
Mm.
enrolling into Mercer County Community College. I went there and I started taking my classes like that summer. I didn't wait. I started taking my classes and doing
Mm.
what I needed to do. I struggled through it because I never learned how to write a paper properly. So, for
Mm.
somebody who was doing like a 3-page paper, it might they do it one day without a problem. I
Right.
struggled through it. Like I was pulling
Mm.
all-nighters on like 2, 3-page papers. I was struggling because
Mhm.
I just didn't know how to do it correctly. But I struggled through it and I got through it and I got better and better and better. I went to tutors. I would grab somebody in class and ask them to help me. I'll talk to the teachers, whatever I had to do. I was coming to office hours, whatever. And at the same
Yes.
time, I was doing that and I was also working because I told you, my family, we put ourselves in six-figure debt trying to save my father. So we were strapped for cash. Like we just didn't have it. Like my
Yes.
mom wanted to help, but she couldn't. So
Mm.
I went and I made sure I got a job. So I ended up working 2 full-time jobs and I was a full-time student and I just made it work. So the thing that most people don't know
Mm.
about me and my story is that, I went through Mercer County Community College and I got my degree. I made it through it, but I actually
Mhm.
had to work all the time and I was always in school. So I never really
Mhm.
got to go home. So I would
Yes.
actually, to save money because of the restraint on, gas and money and that type of thing, going back and forth,
Mhm.
I would actually sleep in an empty parking lot
Mm.
in the backseat of my car. I always kept a blanket in my car because it was cold in the wintertime. And
Mm.
I would just sleep in the backseat of my car in an empty parking lot. And I just remember, those nights,
That's
looking up at,
something.
yeah, just
Mm.
looking up at the stars and just like, man, your life, like, this can't be the end for me. Like, there has to
Right.
be, things have to get better, and I just did what I
Yep.
had to do and I got through it. And then I was able to go to Kane University. I transferred there. And I decided,
Okay.
I was an athlete as well, so I wanted to still play football. So I went there and I walked
Right.
on. I went to school, got through my classes. By that time, I had a better grasp on how I learned. So I didn't have too much of an issue when it came to the classroom
Mhm.
anymore. Still was hard, but it was better. It was
Right.
better.
Yes.
Then from there,
Mm.
I played football. I ended up getting an NCAA championship with Kane University.
Yes.
So
Congrats.
yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
So did that, and then I graduated. I changed my
Mhm.
major to business management because I wanted to learn about money.
Okay.
So I changed it to
And
business
that's
management.
important.
Yep.
We need that education starting very young,
Yes.
10 years old, 12. We
Absolutely.
really need that, especially within, the like Black Latino community. That's
Y-
what we really need it.
Right. So
Instead of as
I
adults, we're learning now, what I'm saying, on our
right.
own about money instead of being raised, up in it. But
Exactly. And that was the reason why I said I want to change the trajectory of my family because none of us really knew
right.
too much about money and business. So I said, in order for this to change, I've got to break the cycle. So
Yep.
changed my major and went and got my degree in business management. And then after that, I immediately pretty much went to the workforce and I was a
Mhm.
manager for Verizon doing a whole bunch of sales jobs. I always was good at sales. Sales was easy for me. I didn't
So
have a
you know
problem
how
with
to
that.
hook people up, then
It,
basically,
was-
how.
I was one of those. I guess people would say I was likable. Like they could
Right.
talk to me. They could have a conversation with me. And I wasn't going to try
Mhm.
to upsell you or do anything like that. What did you come here for? You
Right.
came here for a green chair? Okay, let's get you a green chair, not the red one. Like that
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
worked for me. And that's why I did well. And then from there, I learned a lot about being a
Mhm.
manager and working with people,
Mhm.
that type of thing. And it worked out well for me. And then over time, I went into
Mhm.
insurance. So I got all my insurance
Wow.
licenses. I was a full agent. And then after a while, I got to the point where I was like, man, I don't want to, I don't want to go to sleep because I don't want to wake up. I don't,
Mm.
I don't want to go to work.
Mm.
Now that I don't like what I'm doing. I can't do this nine to
Yeah.
five thing. It's killing me. So
Mm.
I made a firm decision that I was going to walk away from the nine to fives. I wasn't going to do that anymore. And it was rough because I went all the way back to square one, pretty much depleted all the money in my savings because I left and then I had
Mhm.
to find another job in another area that would allow me to do what I wanted to do. And then later on down the line, just kept on working. I was able to start my own business. I started my LLC, and
Yeah.
I realized I had a gift for speaking because one of my teachers asked me from high school, um, man, we'd like you to come back to the school and
Mhm.
talk to the kids and tell them your story. And I was like, I kept blowing it off.
Mhm.
But eventually I went in and I said, okay, I'll do it. And I said, if I'm
Mhm.
going to do this, I want to do it right. So I made sure it was recorded, took pictures, that type of thing to make sure, I was doing it, the best way I possibly could. And I asked questions afterwards with the teacher, like, hey, how did you feel about it?
Mhm.
How did you, think I sounded, that type of thing. And she said, wow, this is like, people will pay to hear you speak, Brad. Like you
Well,
have,
that's something to have somebody tell you that.
right. She was like, you have a gift. If
Mm.
you hone your gift and you get a mentor, that type of thing, like this is something that you can definitely do. So I grabbed onto that and I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this happen. And I just put all my time, effort, and money. So people like to leave that
Yeah.
out. If you have to invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Like
Yes. You guys heard that? Yes.
you have to get a mentor. You have to get somebody that will
Yeah.
help you.
I
So
was gonna ask that you have somebody that was there to help guide you like a mentor.
yeah, but I had to go. Yeah, I had to go look. I had to search. They say faith
Right.
without works is
Okay.
dead. So I had the faith
Mhm.
that okay, yeah, I'm gonna go out and I can make this happen. But I had to work. I had to find somebody. I had to search for somebody that was gonna be able to help me hone this gift because a lot of people are
Right.
talented. There's probably plenty of people out there in the world that are better speakers than I am. But are you gonna work as hard as I am? Like that's where the problem
Yeah.
comes in.
Yeah. That's
Like
the problem. Yeah.
that's the problem. And the one thing that I have leverage over a lot of other speakers is the passion
Mhm.
that I have. You can't buy this.
No, you can't.
You can't buy it. So if you put me against you and you don't have the passion for this, then you lost. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm
sorry.
just reading some
Yeah,
comments. Some people they're writing. They're saying Kyle said that's what's up. He said I'm looking for my full purpose as well to actually act on. So people are inspired by what what you're doing. Tyrell says you are doing great and marvelous things at the age of 25. I work for the city of Hampton. I'm a youth program counselor working with children. Maybe we need to connect and hook up. So
definitely. Definitely.
that's
Absolutely.
it's important.
Oh, I travel. I travel.
Yeah.
So I've been
So
to
you
other,
guys hear
yeah.
that?
I've been to other
Tyrell said
states.
I was
Yeah.
he said I was in special education also and throughout elementary all the way through high school and middle
hmm
school. And
hmm
I could imagine, like you said, how that made you feel
And
because you said you were all the way through your junior year.
right. And
And
that,
you probably always felt like you were, behind, everybody else.
exactly. And that was Terrell that said that, right?
Yeah.
Terrell.
Yep.
So Terrell, one of the things that I used to say to myself all the time when I was in those classes that I'm not special. I hated the word special. I couldn't stand it.
Right.
I could not
Yeah.
stand the word special until I realized that I am special and that
Mm.
you're special as well,
Wow, that's
Terrell.
something.
Right.
Mm.
Like people are gonna like you'll hate the word special when you're in special ed until you realize that you actually are special and you are unique and there is
Yes, I
something
love
about
that.
you.
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Like and there is
Yes.
something about you that
Yeah.
is only given to you. Like there's only a path that you can
That's
walk
true.
down. So
Only you.
exactly.
Yep.
Like you look at some of the greats in the world, the Albert Einsteins and some of the other people in the world, like
Hmm.
in other categories, they were not great, but in the lane that they were meant to be in, oh, they were phenomenal. You couldn't touch them, which is why I
You
feel
couldn't.
like
Yep.
exactly, which is why I feel
Yes.
like uh, me as a speaker, my gift of effective communication and a master of storytelling, that is my
Hmm.
gift, and that's something that I'm honing day in and day out so that when other people look at me, they look at me and they say, oh man, this person is so great in this area, he's phenomenal, whatever the case may be. You might actually get it mixed up and think that I don't mess up in other areas. Like you might actually think I come home and don't get yelled at by my wife for not doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Like, but that's how great you have to be at whatever it
Yeah.
is that your gift is, that people think that, wow, you like almost everything you touch is golden.
And I like what you said, because you have to work on it every day. I actually had someone tell me that as well, as far as what I'm doing in media. I'm telling us that, you have to work on it every day. You have to practice, being in the mirror, giving interviews. You have to do these things every day.
Right.
And that's true in any, especially with, the speaking world. You do have to actually practice. I don't care how great you are, at speaking or what people tell you, you still have to go and practice. And, sometimes you still have to, there's things you have to work on. There's always going to be something that you need to progress at. And
Absolutely.
the only way to get there is by actually doing it. Sometimes you actually have to go out and do something in order to, get, better at it. Kyle
Absolutely.
says you have a good story that most can relate to. Keep pushing, bro.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate you.
And Tyrell said congratulations. So people are definitely, supporting you. Javon said our story is similar based. I know my friend Javon, he went through special education as well. So there's a lot of people out here that can, relate to that. And like you said, that adversity is only going to excel you in life.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? If you don't go through something, you're not ever going to realize your potential, to make it through things.
Yeah, you got to go through it to get to it.
You got to get through it. And a lot of times people, like when you're, like you said, when you was in your car, you was in that moment looking up and wondering, like, this can't be my life. But something in you told you that wouldn't be your whole life, that you're just in that moment. There was a reason it told you that,
That's just blind faith.
Yeah, it really is. And I think a lot of people need more of that. You just have to believe. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true. You actually have to believe that you can get out of that situation.
Oh, it starts with belief.
If you don't see it, it's not going to happen. So
absolutely. It starts with belief. If you don't believe that you're worth more, if you don't believe that better things are going to happen for you, if you don't believe that you can get yourself out of whatever hole that you've dug yourself into, then you're not. It's just not going to happen. I'm very, very careful with the things that I say, because I know that, you speak life and death into people, into things. So I'm very careful when I talk, especially to about myself and to other people, because I don't want to relay the wrong message. Like, I know how powerful it is when I'm standing on stage and I've got, hundreds of people or thousands of people in front of me. If I say something that's going to discourage someone or push them down deeper in that hole, they might not be able to get out. So my job is to motivate, inspire, and empower everybody that I come in contact with. So if you're on a high, I'm bringing you higher. If you're on a low, I'm bringing you to the point where you can get up and get moving again. So that's all there is to it.
I have your quote written down here too. You said, make your next day your best day. So I really like
Absolutely.
It's true.
Make your next day your best day.
And you have to really keep that, in your mind.
For me, it's just a reminder. Yeah, it's just a reminder for me. Make your next day your best day. Just is whatever I did today is not enough to get me through tomorrow. So that's
powerful words there.
Like I could have gotten a check for X amount of dollars, and that's cool for today. Like after I cash that, after I cash it, put it in the bank account and everything, that's cool. But then tomorrow there could still be another bill coming. Like something else could happen. My car could break down.
I don't want to talk about no more bills. I'm getting tired of
something
all the time.
It like something can happen. Somebody can get sick. Somebody needs something. My nephew could call me and say, "Hey, Uncle Brad, I need such and such." My wife ain't calling. She might need something, and I feel like I have to work. I have to grind each and every day. I am not above going out and putting in manual labor, doing whatever I have to do to make sure that my family, my community has what it needs.
So when you're doing your speaking engagement, I know you speak to all, like different ages. So do you have like different like keynotes set up, for the different age groups, depending on the audience that you're targeting?
Well, the message is going to be a little bit different depending on the audience that I'm talking to. Okay. So if I'm speaking with, younger children, obviously I'm going to have to water down the message a little bit. And then as I
Right.
get up to high school, I can be a little more raw. And then when I get to college, kids, look, you're adults at that point for the most part,
Right.
even though your brain hasn't necessarily fully developed. Um,
Yes, sure has.
I mean, it's a fact, especially for men. Oh my God, I don't know what it is about us men until we hit the age of
I don't know.
30,
Some of y'all, I don't
we
even
just
think got it right by 35. I think some of y'all still back at 20.
listen. I'm telling you, like even like I told you, I turned 30 this year, and
Hmm.
when I hit 30, it was like I was
Yeah.
already like the wheels were already turning. I was already doing certain things, like getting things in motion.
Right.
And then
Right.
when 30 hit, it kind of all just clicked all at once. It was like boom.
Mm.
Oh, okay, Brad, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to boom, 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 boom,
Mm.
and put everything in space. It was just like, okay, now I got all the puzzle pieces. Let me just push it
Yeah.
all together and get it right. And whereas before, when I was like 24, 25, I'm opening up boxes of puzzles and I don't know where the pieces went. Like,
Mm.
so I couldn't get it together. And so I thought I wasn't focused.
Wow.
I wasn't focused. I didn't have that laser focus to like, listen, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to get it done. When I
So
became
you
focused,
had
yeah,
to like take time, off and be to yourself to really figure that out. And
yeah,
I'm asking for myself as well because sometimes I'm involved in so many different things. And people say it's great, don't limit yourself, don't think you have to just do one thing. It's good to be into different things, but sometimes it can take you all over because you
right,
have so many, different interests and things. So
right,
it's very hard for people who are, especially if you're multi-talented. It's like you're trying to see, okay, where do I start at? And people say just follow, your passions, do, one thing, at a time. Don't try to do five different, things. Don't try to, rap and then act, saying do all those different things at once. But it's tough. It's really hard. And I'm, in my 30s as well, and it can still be tough. You would think by then you have things together, but talking to a lot of my friends, they're still trying to navigate, what it is that they want to do.
right. So the thing there is, I was a jack of all trades and the master of none. So I thought for years.
Hmm.
So I dabbled
Hmm.
in a lot of different things. Athlete, sports, music and stuff like that. I could do I have a lot of talents. Like I could sing, I could dance, I could do a whole bunch of different things.
Hmm.
But it wasn't until I actually gravitated to my gift and actually held on to that
Mm.
and focused solely on
Right.
that and worked on mastering that gift that I have,
Okay.
that I could step into other things.
That's something. Wow.
You
Yeah.
like you can't say that I'm gonna be a singer, dancer, rapper, and like
Right.
your gift is singing. So focus on singing first and master that
Right. That's true.
skill. Master your
Right.
ability to do that. Then from there, then you move over to rapping or whatever. So case in point, you look at
Right.
Chris
That's
Brown.
true.
You look at Chris Brown. Chris Brown dabbles in a
Mm.
bunch of different things because the very first
That's true.
gift that he had was singing and entertaining. So once he got that
Right.
down, then he started rapping. Then he started
Yep.
doing the artwork. If you notice, he does artwork
Doing
now.
all that. Of
Yeah,
course.
he does the whole dancing thing with the paint and the
Yeah.
canvas
Right.
and
All that
people
stuff.
buying it
Yeah.
for thousands of dollars. Like, okay, I can
Right.
dance on a canvas too with some paint if you want me to. Like,
Yeah.
if I could, I would. But he has the celebrity to pull that off. But it started
Right.
with
Yeah.
him focusing on one thing.
On one thing. That's a very good point. Just focus on that one gift that is gonna attract, people to you. And then
Exactly.
from there, it's like, once you got them, now it's like, okay, let me show you my other gifts,
Right.
that I have.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say like your gift is one thing and your talent is something different. So like
Mm.
those are two different things. Your gift is something that you're born with. You can get rid of it if you try. But
Mm.
your talent is something that you're interested in and you've worked on it for a little while because of the interest. So naturally you get better at it.
Well, I'm glad you distinguished that because people use them simultaneously all the time.
Not the same.
Yes,
Yeah,
different talent.
definitely not the same.
Yes, Tyrell, he has a Facebook page. Tyrell was asking if you have a Facebook page and stuff.
Send a
Because
friend request.
they definitely want to, connect, with you. Because people need to hear stories like this. People, are going through, like I said, different things, especially in their 30s. For
Mm,
some reason, I don't know what, I know you just got in your 30s. I'm not gonna say how old I am. I'm still a little young now too, but it's hard. People are really going through different, especially financially. That's the biggest issue. I hear people in their 30s because now you're hit with all these different responsibilities. You
hmm
have student loan debt you're dealing with. You're trying to find you a good paying job. You're trying to start business. This is so much, going on. Starting a family, and so many things going on that people need guidance. So when people hear stories like yours, it helps, motivate them. Oh, Javon says, question, what is your why?
Oh,
So
good,
that's the
good
question.
question, Javon. That is a
Yeah.
great question. I do get
Don't
it
tell him
asked
that.
pretty often.
That's one of my best friends. He's just, trying to look all smart and stuff on here. But go ahead. Go ahead.
That is a no, that's a phenomenal
No,
question.
it
So,
is. It's a great
um,
question.
so the answer to like what my why is my legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm,
it's never been about my first name. It's always been about my last name. So it's the
damn, that's
legacy
deep.
that I
Mm.
plan to leave behind because the way that I see things, the way I look at things, is
Yes,
like I
God.
said, but like I said before, my mother and my father, they were both drug addicts. Like
Mm,
we should have been done. Like I shouldn't be here. Me and my
mm,
like my mother, my father, like my sister, like we shouldn't be here, but we
mm.
are, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
So if you think that I'm gonna wake up every morning and take every opportunity that I have for granted,
Mm.
you lost your mind.
Yes.
Like my thing is, you gave like they gave the special ed kid a chance. You lost your mind.
Yes.
If you think that you gave the special ed kid a chance and you think that I'm not going to fight every single day to get everything that I deserve, or I should say, everything that they told me that I couldn't have, or all the things that they told me and my family that we didn't deserve, you crazy. You lost your mind. Like every single day, I fight for us. I fight for my family. So I want the entire world to know
Yes.
that you put us in the box and I blew it up.
Mm. Wow. That's a good answer. I was expecting that, but that's a great question again, Javon. Of Scott Valentine, he says, my mentor told me you work in your 30s to set up your 40s. So I believe that, to be true too.
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on when you realize that you have a gift. There's a young girl who started a lemonade stand. She's like 12 years old. You can't tell me she's not going to be a millionaire when she get older.
Right. Yeah,
Why?
that's true.
She could be a millionaire when she hit her 20s, if not earlier than that with the right management.
Right. I mean, I try to encourage people to not give up either.
Oh yeah,
Because sometimes when people don't see things happening, like I have a friend now, and it's like he sees people like 12 years old, 15 doing things, and he's just like, well, how come I didn't figure this out then? And I'm like, well, everybody has a different path. You can't compare yourself to the fact that they discovered their passion, their focus at a young age versus you. You may not figure that out until you're 35 or 40.
right.
Does that mean, one is better than the other? I'm like, it's just two different, life, journeys.
I
So I
used to
try to
struggle with
encourage
that.
people, don't give up either just because you feel like your time is up. I feel like you're never too old and it's never too late. As what your parents say.
And I used to
It's
struggle with
never
that.
too late.
That's definitely something I struggled with. I used to beat myself up about that. Oh man, I'm 23, I'm 24, I'm 25. I don't have this,
Oh,
I don't have
boy,
that.
bye.
Like, like, I was like, I don't have
That's
this, I
the
don't
way.
have that, or
Yes.
whatever the case may be. And then I realized, things happen at a certain rate for a reason. So,
That's true.
one of my old managers for Verizon told me a long time ago. He said, "Brad, you're
Mm,
very good at what you do. Like you have a special
mm,
set of skills, but I need you to hurry up and
yes.
wait.
Mm,
You need to hurry up and wait." I'm like,
yes.
first of all, what does that even mean? Like I was lost. I'm
I
like,
don't I,
what?
I don't know. That's something. Yeah,
I,
that's deep.
I was
Wow.
lost. He was like,
Yeah.
Brad, what I mean by that is
Mm,
you have to get to the point
yes.
where you just get focused on doing the work. And then all the
Mm,
accomplishments and accolades and everything that you want is
all that.
going
Yep.
to come. It's going to come as long as you do the work. So stop worrying
Mm,
about when it's going to happen and just focus on
right.
doing what you're supposed to do each and every day. And then watch how it just
Yes.
falls in your lap.
Yes. Dwight says, new generation, new opportunities. My mom, Danita, she's on here. She
Okay.
said, talk to us, bro. Take your time. She said, we hear you and listening to you.
Hey, Miss
So,
Danita.
Miss Shug, and that just remind me, you said you mentioned your wife a number of times. Her name is Shug too, right? Shug?
Yep.
Because
That's
I
her
saw that,
nickname.
'cause, my mom is Danita Shug Brown. So I already know she's, good people.
Yes, my wife, she's
All
from
the
the South.
street. Well, yeah, my family's from North Carolina, South
North
Carolina.
North
I pray
Carolina.
for everybody down there, by the way, too. They're still like really going through it, with the flood and everything that's happening.
Yes.
So I send my prayers out, to everybody. your wife's, family as well. That's down there. Hopefully everybody, is good,
Hmm.
safe, not involved in that because it's crazy. I see stuff right, on the news now, and it's craziness, going on. But we
Yeah.
be thinking that we have it bad sometimes, and you got to think about what, other people, their adversity
Hmm.
that they're dealing with. That's going to be a story for them, to
Right.
talk about this experience and things. So I know we talked about your presentations and things. Um, what other topics do you talk about with your audience, especially with the kids? I would say.
Hmm. A lot of times it really just depends on what they need. So that's a
Okay.
question that I always ask. What are you
Right.
dealing with? Like, what are the struggles that you're dealing with in the educational system? I know 9 times out of 10, if I say retention, they're gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
retention. We need to keep the kids retained. I was like, okay, yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Retention, I can help you with that. Because the reason why you're having an issue with retention is chances are,
Mm.
if it's in an urban area, the kids are learning from people who don't look like them and they don't trust you.
Yeah. It
That's
is.
that's one reason you haven't taken the time to get to the point where they feel like they can really trust you. Another thing is you're not relaying the message in a way where they feel that it's of importance to them. So, for
Yeah.
example, when I was in school, you couldn't give me
Hmm.
the stupid math problems. You
Hmm.
couldn't give me like the simple math problems and think that
Hmm.
it was gonna work for me. So we always got the
Okay.
Johnny has 10 Snickers bars. If Johnny eats 8 of
Hmm.
the Snickers bars, how many does he have left? I was that one
Right.
with the smart mouth to say Johnny has diabetes. So I would get kicked out of class.
Yeah.
So like you have to give me the question in a different way and relate it to
Right.
life
Yeah.
skills. Like that was the only
Mm.
way it worked for me, which is why I didn't have a problem with college, because college, when they gave you
Yes.
information and they applied it in a way
Thank
that
you,
it was
AJ.
going to, it was going to affect you in life. Like I think one of
Mm.
my favorite classes that I took, which was also one of my hardest classes, was my capstone class. And the capstone
Okay.
class, in there was a simulation that was nationwide that we had to do, where we had to run $1 million business.
Mm.
And if you let the
Mm.
$1 million business go bankrupt, you failed the class. It didn't matter how much work you did over the
Mm.
semester. So when I heard that, I was like,
Wow.
we can't go bankrupt. Like, we can't lose this money. So like I was pulling all nighters, doing whatever I had to do, and I was making sure that I got it right. And I have that same mindset when it comes to my business. Like this is
Right.
my business is my baby.
Hmm.
So nothing and no one can come into it and throw it off track. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yes. So your business now, you started that at the same time you started the motivational speaking?
No, not at the same time.
Okay.
Actually, I've been speaking longer than I've had the business. Like next month will be the 1 year anniversary for the business.
Yes.
So that's
Okay.
great.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. It's just funny how
Mm-hmm.
my wife is still amazed. Right now, from
Mm-hmm.
where I started, she was at my very first speaking engagement, to seeing me get to the
Right.
point where I'm a paid speaker. It's just like mind blowing to her sometimes. And for
Yeah.
me, it's just like
Mm.
I'm not done yet. Like I feel like I've still got so much more work to do. And I know that I can give more. I
Yeah.
know that I haven't even like hit the tip of the iceberg. Like I know that there's so much more that I want to give. It's just I'm looking for every single opportunity possible. Which is why I take almost everything that comes my way.
Mm. Now, what advice would you give someone else that's interested in motivational speaking? Because I did see one of your Instagram clips with another podcast host, and she asked you about that,
Right.
about how do you differentiate between yourself and other motivational speakers since it's a saturated market now. So,
Yeah.
what advice would you give somebody else who's looking into becoming a paid certified
Yeah.
motivational speaker?
Yeah, if you're looking to make this a profession for yourself, I would say the
Mhm.
one thing that's going to help you the most is to just be genuine and be yourself. And you have got to
Right.
have the heart to serve people. Like in the beginning,
Yes.
like
Yes. Lauren.
if you really want to know if somebody is really about doing what they say they want to do,
Mhm.
tell them you don't have a budget and ask them if they will be interested in doing it for free. They
Right.
really, like, you really need it. And if they immediately blow you off and say, "Oh man, blah, blah,
Yeah.
I just can't do it,"
Right, ma'am. I
your
believe
heart
you.
your heart's not in it. Because every time I see a situation, like every time I've spoken in Trenton, a lot of times I've spoken in Trenton, New Jersey, it's been for free. And I've done it
Yeah.
because I know that the kids and the people in that, and it's not even just the kids. Sometimes it's the adults that's hanging on every single word because they
Everything.
need to
Right.
hear,
Everything. Yeah.
they need to hear
Yeah.
that message. So there's a lot of times I go out there and I speak and they say, oh man, we don't have a budget. Like we couldn't get any donations
Mm.
together. Don't even worry about it.
Right.
Me getting the footage, me getting the audio, that was payment. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna flip that. And then when I go to another corporation or something like that, we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. But just get me in the room. That's my only thing.
That's it.
My
Yeah.
thing has always been my thing has always been, why we still talking? Get me in the room. Like I carry a tripod and I carry my phone and a wireless mic with me everywhere I go. I can get it popping anywhere. Like
Right.
like literally just like, yo, can you go speak to them for 5 minutes? Let's get it. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. I'm mic'd
Yeah.
up and I'm ready to play. Like, because I'm that serious about mine. Because I've had situations where people will ask me to speak, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't bring my stuff with me. Can we do
Right.
it?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, this is your opportunity to show us what you can do. So after that,
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, I'm bringing my stuff with me everywhere I go. I'll record it from my phone, chop it up later. You know, if I don't have my camera with me, it's cool. Listen,
Right.
I'm ready to go. I'm a trained professional to do this now. So I'm never caught slipping.
Yeah, because like you say, you don't want to miss the opportunity because that's happened to me before too, where I was just not prepared, and I had people like, "Well, can you interview right now?" And I'm
Right,
just like, "Oh, I don't have this and all that." But now I've learned that I have the basics here. My phone, number one,
right,
is a big piece of equipment. A lot of people, including myself, used to think you have to have, this $1,000, 1,200, whatever expensive camera and all this equipment to do that, but you really don't have to have that. We have these expensive phones that basically got everything included. You can share, right there on the spot. So it's just learning to use what you have to your advantage. Don't think you have to, necessarily spend all this money and have all these different things to do what you want to do. Like you say, you just, have your wireless mic and right there, your tripod, you're good to go.
right,
So that's the other mentality, thinking that you can't start something until you have all these things. And
right,
that is like you're always going to be waiting until, you know what I'm saying? You're always
right.
going to think like, oh, maybe I need this and I need that. And then it's just like you never started instead of just using what you have to just to get yourself out there. Like you said, just to speak in the room.
Yeah, one of
It
my
don't
very
take much
first
for you to just speak in the room, to
ex
people.
exactly, like the one of
Yeah.
my very first like videos that I did just recording myself, I was in the
Mhm.
bathroom. I was in the bathroom and I just propped the phone up against
Yeah.
the mirror. You know, and my wife's like, make sure the shower curtain is closed. I'm
Pose,
like, all
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'm just focused on speaking and just
Yeah.
trying to do that. But
Mhm.
like that's what it was. And the funny thing about it is I never took the video down. Like if you look through my Instagram and go all the way
Right.
back to the beginning,
Oh,
it's
no, I'm
on
gonna go
there.
back and look now.
It's on there. Like the video's on there. Like I was just
Yes.
like, yo, I'm just gonna do it. And then people like to
Yeah,
see growth. So if they see
they
where I
do.
started and then they
Mhm.
see where I'm at now, they're like, oh man, this boy been serious about this.
And you're definitely serious because your Instagram is like every day. And I really like how you did those the short video clips
Hmm.
because it's those. I guess you're just giving like your tips and advice, throughout the videos. But it's like each one is different, and it's like you're doing it practically on a daily basis.
Hmm.
And I think that's important because consistency, people always say that's, very important to keep consistent. People want to see that and persistence, but consistency, people want to continually see you post and discuss things and motivate people. So,
Yeah, consistency
congrats
is
to
key.
you on that.
Yeah, more than anything else, over talent, over skill, over the gift, consistency
Yeah.
is key. The only reason I was able to speak at Verizon was because the owner
Mhm.
of the franchise saw that I had videos each and every day or pictures, something, quotes,
Right.
memes,
Yeah.
every single day they were seeing something. So he was like,
Yeah.
I think I can trust him. Like, I think I can trust him. Yeah,
Mm.
bring him in, let him speak. I said, oh, well,
Wow.
there it is.
That was it.
That was it. Consistency
Yeah.
will get you wherever it is that you're trying to get to. I don't care how bad you
Mm.
think you are at something. Listen, if you are consistent and you keep on doing it over and over again, eventually you're going to beat somebody. Like if you're out there and you're a speaker and you're not practicing speaking or you're not consistently
Right.
posting things or like you're not consistently finding speaking gigs, I'm going to beat you. And there's nothing
Yeah.
you can do about it
Yeah,
because
I hear
you're
that,
not willing to work.
right? Yeah. You
I
have
get
to actually put yourself out there.
I get some people that, yeah, they're probably like, yo, I'm a better speaker than Brad is. I'm definitely a better speaker than Brad is. I pronunciate better. I do this, I do
Yeah.
that, blah, blah, blah. Like I got the cameras, blah, 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 and I got the editor.
Right, got
So
all this stuff.
I got all this,
Yep.
I got all this stuff going. I was like, yeah, but I knocked on the door. I came to the person's school and was like, hi, my name is Brad. I'm a motivational speaker. I'd like to serve your community.
And I think it's important that you said doing it for free as well, because that is how you build your experience though.
Right.
People actually need to hear you out here talking. And I think that's very important, to not focus on, the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people do. They focus on the money all the time. And that's a blockage, I think, if that's what you just focus on. You shouldn't be out here, calling yourself a speaker if you're not actually, your goal is not to help the people that you're speaking to. Because if that's your first goal, the money will come as it's coming for you now.
Oh, I'm a
after
testament to
you've
that.
already been out there. You were out there for a while, I'm guessing, before people really started to say, okay, now we can, start paying him. He's for real. So
the funny thing about it is I was just speaking, just serving and just going, just speaking and speaking and speaking. And then people offered money. Like I was just going and doing it like, okay, one day it'll break and, I'll be able to get paid for it. And then one day it turned around and somebody just reached in their pocket and took out a crumpled up $50 bill and handed it to me and said, yo, man, that was great. Here you go. I was like, oh.
Man.
Went home and told my wife, look at what I have. Like,
he's like he brought home some money.
I'm literally holding it in the palm of my hand, showing my wife, look at the crumpled up 50. Look, this is the way he gave it to me. I don't care. Let's put it in the bank account. Like, this is ours. Look what we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and then it went from
once you do that one time, that's it.
Right. And then it went from 50 to 250 to 500 to 800 to 1,000.
Wow, that's a blessing,
It just goes up and up and up over time. Because that, and it's not even that I said I was worth that. The market said I was worth that. Someone else said, we can offer you, this is what we have in the budget. And I'm like, praise God.
Yeah, that's definitely is praise God. So what's your favorite sports team?
My favorite sports team?
I have to hear this though.
I'm from, all right. So my sports teams are a little weird because, they're not all from the same area. So I'm from New Jersey. So my favorite basketball team is the Knicks. So we're working on it. We're struggling, but we're working on it. So the Knicks are my favorite basketball team. As far as football, the LA Rams are my favorite team.
Wow.
So that's different because I know LA is nowhere near here.
That's definitely different.
But it was because Marshall Faulk was my favorite running back when I was younger because he was small and I was small. So I was like, oh, and then my Pop Warner team was the Rams. My high school team was the Rams. So I was like, oh, Rams. All right. This is
Javon talking about let's go Knicks. Javon, don't co-sign.
Yes, co-sign. Yes. We're working on it.
I don't know what's going on. They ain't gonna work on me because I don't know about that. It's just
we trying to get it together, all right? Give us some time.
No. Yeah. So what other advice would you like to give? Because I know you love to to motivate and encourage others. So
only thing I'll say, you know what? I'll leave you guys with the 3 T's. So I know I got like 3 acronyms for everything, but the 3 T's. So my 3 T's go without trial.
Okay.
Without trial, there is no triumph. Yes. And without triumph, there is no testimony. No one wants to hear from the person that didn't have, something to go through. Somebody that never has been through the valley. On the Hall of Fame speech of Michael Irvin, who was a famous Cowboys wide receiver, he said he goes back and he talks to the athletes because who better for them to hear from than someone who's been at the lowest of lows because he had a drug addiction, and then he came back and ended up still winning 3 championships and being in the Hall of Fame. So who better to hear from than somebody who has been at the lowest point but was still able to find the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I don't want to talk to the person who had the easiest road. I don't want to talk to the person who had the silver spoon in their mouth and somebody gave them everything and they came from privilege or they came from a network and their mom and dad was able to get them into the country. I don't need to talk to you because we don't speak the same language. We don't speak the same language. I wanted to like, so when I'm talking to the Tyrones and the Keishas and stuff like that
Yeah.
of the world, who, you know, their mom or dad has a drug addiction issue, or that someone in their family has a drug addiction issue, or their poverty or gangs or whatever the case may be, or they're dealing with special ed,
Yes.
they now feel like I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. There's somebody else in this world who has dealt with what I dealt with, and they were able to get through it. So if they were able to get through it, I should be able to
Yes.
get through
Yes.
it.
Praise Lord. Praise God for that.
Because I'm no smarter than anybody else. I'm no stronger. You see, I'm not that big. So I'm not no stronger, no taller. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
The way I see it is there's nothing
Mm.
special physically or like mentally about me that makes me better than anybody else, where I have a leg up. The only thing that's different about me is that I just refuse to lose. That's it.
Mm.
Like I
That's
just
it.
like you can win 100 times, but if I win that 101 time, that 101st
Yeah.
time, I got what I came for.
Mm.
The
Oh,
thing is,
that's powerful. Yes.
yeah, the thing is just, can you outlast me? Do you have the endurance to outlast me? And I'm just not gonna
Mm.
stop.
Well, we already know you're not gonna stop. You're just getting started. So I did want to ask you very quick, how important is having a team, or a
uh,
support system?
I mean, it is important to have, to have a team and have a support system. But what most people don't tell you is that you're not going to have a team and you're not going to have a support
Right.
system until you prove to those people who are not a
Yeah.
part of your team and a part of your support system just yet that you are
Right.
willing to work harder than they are. Like I wore every single hat in my
Mm.
business. So I did the editing, I did the
Right.
photography and like all that stuff and syncing audio.
Mhm.
I did all that stuff on my own, setting up the tripod and
Mm.
all that stuff. Nobody helped
Yeah.
me. Like I was doing
Mm.
all that stuff on my own to get it done. And then when people started noticing and saying, "Yo, this man's serious. Like he's consistently speaking. He's going everywhere. He's coming in. He's coming to communities. Like literally, I spoke in Newark, New Jersey, and I was getting ready to speak.
Yes,
And
Nort. Hello. Yes.
right, okay, and
Yeah.
I just did a radio interview in Newark. So
Yeah, I
I was
just saw it. Holla,
there. We
GS
go.
Radio.
There we go. So I was literally about to speak. It was me and my fiance, she who was with me,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I'm getting ready to get up to speak, and somebody was shot right across the street from us, and the person was murdered.
Mm.
So I'm sitting there looking at these people, and I'm like, yo, I don't have to be here. Like I don't have to put myself through this. And then I started
Yeah.
thinking to myself, well, Brad, this is what you signed up for. So it
Mm.
doesn't matter how you feel about the situation. Like now's
Right.
not the time for you to back out on what you said that this is what you wanted to do with your life. So if that means that you have to be here to
Yeah.
inspire people in a situation that you had not planned on inspiring them for, like literally, I had something to say about the kids, and then all of a sudden it
Mm.
turned into now the community needs me.
The community. Yeah.
I can't run from this. Like, how are people going to look at me? How are people going to feel about me later on in the future where they're like, yo, Brad, someone was shot right across the street from you, and you had the opportunity to empower these people and like
Right.
turn a
Yeah.
negative into a positive, and you did absolutely
Mhm.
nothing with that opportunity. So how can you
Yeah.
say that you're a servant leader? So if you do
That's
the
just
work,
crazy. Yeah.
if you do the
Mm.
work, the help will come.
Mm. Oh, you really dropping, as my friend said, you dropping gold nuggets. That's what they said Carmelo was doing, but I don't
Uh,
know. We're not gonna get into into that. So how can people reach you? I have people on here saying or asking if you can send them, friend requests. So how can
yeah,
people connect
yeah,
with you?
no problem. So on Facebook, because we're all on here right now, Facebook is just
Yes.
Brad Butler the second. Very easy. The fan page is b-Rad Inspires, so B-RAD Inspires. As far as Instagram,
Yes.
Instagram is at B_Rad Inspires.
Yeah, so
So
you guys heard that. Make sure, you connect with him. I guess, DM you as well if they have
yeah.
any questions or if they need to seek, your advice or
Hmm.
they want to have you come out, speak to the
Oh
school. Like
yeah,
you said, you was in Newark. There's a lot going on here in the city, a lot of positivity,
yeah.
going on as well. So, people like to say Newark is so negative, it's violence and all that. Yes, of course you're gonna have that, inner, urban city, but there's also a lot of positive things going on as well. There are people out here trying to help the
Hmm.
community and are doing things for the community. So don't think, just because Newark or Trenton, Jersey City, don't always think of it as this, this bad, place. There's a lot of good people and a lot of good going on within
Right.
those cities as well. So you just have to play your part in it like you're doing. You're playing your part and you're out here helping everybody, kids, adults, special education, everybody out here needs somebody to help, motivate them to do better. That's all we got to do is just keep pushing each other, keep, supporting each other, and we'll all be, successful in our own ways. So I'm
Absolutely.
gonna,
Trust me. I need all the support I can get to. I was just in Newark
yeah,
earlier today.
definitely.
I was at
Yeah.
Principal Akbar Cook, his school.
Yes,
I was at
that's exactly who I was thinking of just now.
yeah, East Side, right? East
Yeah.
Side High School. Unfortunately, I didn't get the
Is he
opportunity.
East Side or is he? It might be West Side. I think he's at West
It,
Side.
no, it's West Side. It's West Side.
He's
Sorry.
West Side. Yeah.
Yeah. So West Side High. I stopped by there. Unfortunately, I
Mhm.
wasn't able to speak with him because he had a assembly that he was doing, so I didn't get to speak with him
Okay.
then. But so if anybody is connected to Principal Akbar Cook, please let him know. I'm
Yes.
interested in talking to him. So
And he was just on Ellen
yep.
DeGeneres show. Excuse me, my mouth getting dry. I have my little wine. I'm about to start drinking. But yeah, I was really happy when I saw that because it's like he didn't do it just for that reason, just to
Right.
get, I'm saying just to get noticed or seen. He was doing it from the goodness of his heart. And that's what people loved about it. The fact that he
Right.
was legitimately out here, genuinely trying to help, these kids out here. And when you do things like that, people, they want to help, they want to give and help, help you and help those kids out. So that's why I say you have to give, give from your heart. Don't just
Right.
be out here giving just to, look good.
Right.
Actually genuinely want to be out here and give, just like you said, serving, the community. You have to actually want to help people just for the fact of helping them. And in the
Right.
end, that actually helps you. It's like you learn a lot about yourself and you're out here thinking you helping everybody else and you're learning from them as well. So I just want to say continue, doing what you're doing. I'm going to be following you, as well, stalking, seeing what you got, going on so I can help, push, what you have going on because it's important. We need people, like you out here. So,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And oh, also the YouTube channel is
mhm.
b-Rad Inspires, so
Yes, yes,
b-Rad Inspires. Yeah, go on there, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff because I can use,
yes, do everything.
like I said, I can use all the help that I can get,
Yeah,
just to push the message. So if you're about positivity
right.
and trying to actually make a real change in this world, especially with
Yes,
all the things
yes.
that we got going on, let's focus on some
Mhm.
people that are actually positive and who want to go out and do more for
Right.
the community, more for
Yes,
the people.
yes. So I guess we're gonna sign off now. So we've been on, I guess, a little over an hour. But that's what happens, you're actually talking and having a good, conversation. Thank you, Ma. She said great topic. Yes, it definitely was. I had a great guest tonight as well. So thank you, Mr. B-Rad, for joining us tonight on a Scholar Talk. And, like I said, underneath you can post, how people can connect with you as well and I'll share this as well, on YouTube and on my Facebook. So everybody have a good night. Good night to you also, Mr. B-Rad.
All right, thank you.
All right. All right. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. Peace out.